Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is episode 95. Today we're going to be talking about Fear the Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 3, and The Walking Dead World Beyond, Season 1, Episode 4. But before we dive in, how are you doing today, Brooke?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Diana. How are you?
I am awesome. I'm awesome, Brooke.
Aww.
It's Friday night. It's the eve of my wedding anniversary. So, making plans for the weekend, whatever we can do, during COVID would be exciting. Just as long as we're together celebrating, me and my husband. So, but I hope to get near the beach somewhere. That's what I'm hoping anyways.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It'll be cold,
What beach do you like? Oh, it'll be cold. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Sometimes it's Monterey. I don't know where we'll head. San Francisco, Half Moon Bay, Monterey, Santa Cruz. I'm not sure yet. So we might just wake up in the morning and say, where are we driving to? So I'm not sure yet.
Oh, that's cool. I love the coast.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun way to celebrate your anniversary.
Yeah. We're lucky that we live near the water. So,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because
that's true.
Yeah. Some people don't. So, I appreciate it very much.
Me too.
Yeah, and I'm so happy. It's a Friday evening, and I'm spending it with you, and so it's a highlight for me to spend my time with you. So
yes, highlight.
Yes.
That is a very familiar word. Highlight.
Were you highlighting today, Brooke?
I can do highlights in my sleep.
I love your highlights, or I love your highlights, but I like how you highlight on me, I should say.
Yeah, I love doing that type of hair color service. Highlights are just everything, I tell you.
Well, they just frame your face, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I love when I get them. They're just so exciting. So, yeah. But I'll be seeing you for that soon.
Good. I was just thinking, I'm like, when is Diana's next appointment?
I know. I have to text you regarding that. Because I'm always texting you about one thing or another. So, but just to remind our listeners, we are remote podcasting. So, but at least I get to see you during FaceTime.
I know. I love that. So how do you feel during like a Zoom or FaceTime? Do you get that like
fatigue?
Are you comfortable? Huh?
You mean the fatigue, or how do I feel about having FaceTime?
Yeah. Like, are you getting so used to FaceTime and Zoom conference calls? Like, are you comfortable on the camera?
I am. But this is really funny. I always put on my makeup, right? I just do. Never waver. I always do. But the other day, I went to a work meeting. It was in the morning. And I'm like looking. Oh, it was the day after I dressed up for Halloween, because for work, I was Wonder Woman. And so I put a lot of eye makeup on that day because, she has her eyes framed and everything. So the next day when I had a meeting, I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, okay, I look all right, but gosh, I look plainer today, right? I'm saying this to myself.
That's funny.
And I realized I didn't have my makeup on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have my makeup on. So I'm, I texted Brittany on the side because she happened to be in the work meeting. And I'm like, I don't have my makeup on. I can't believe
so funny.
I'm on camera with no makeup on. And she's, oh, you look great. Be quiet. And I'm like, oh my God. So I guess I was okay. I have a feeling that the camera or my laptop has a good camera or something because, I don't normally look okay without, to me. Okay, I'm sure everybody else would say, Diana, you look great. But to me, I just need something.
That's so cute.
Even if it's just a little bit of something.
Yeah.
But anyways, about the episode, I was thinking about how this episode has a reunion in it, and it made me think about experiencing being reunited with someone. So, Brooke, have you been away from someone for a long time and or extended period of time and were reunited with someone? And if you were, how did that go?
Well, anytime I feel like I've been away from a friend or a family member for a period of time, I would say that I'm always excited or anticipated. And typically the reunion goes really, I would say it's the most happy feeling that one could ever hope for.
Yeah.
And so generally that's how it goes. And then, you know, like as I get older, I tend to talk more. So it's like, I feel like, it's been hours, you know, like when I'm just greeted by that person, I feel like we're just talking so much. And it feels like a long time has gone by. So it just feels really good. And there's never like an awkward or dull moment. So, I love reuniting with people.
I know.
How about you? How does it feel when you reunite with somebody that you haven't seen in a while?
Well, you reminded me by saying that of a couple of things. So I'm thinking, you know, in the holidays, sometimes I don't see my family, certain members of my family, for a year or sometimes 2 years, if they're alternating Christmases with the other sides of different families. So, I mean, sometimes, I haven't seen my family in 2 years. And so when I finally get to see them, yes, it's so good. And it just it just warms me because I just love my family. And so it is so good to see them and catch up and talk with them. But I was also thinking that, isn't it funny how, well, I've had friends that I hadn't seen in years and years and years and years, and being reunited with them, and we talk like we did back then. It was like no time had gone by, even though decades have gone by on some people. But it's like you can talk about things that you just feel so comfortable with them. And I just think that that's such a cool feeling, you know, to be able to pick up where you left off. Even though your lives have changed and, you know, you've had kids and they've grown and they've had kids and they've grown, or whatever it may be. So, being reunited with somebody is a really good feeling.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Nice thoughts. So, listeners, let us know what you think. Have you ever been reunited with someone you hadn't seen in a while? And how did it go? Let us know. You can leave us a comment on our Twitter at @in_screens or at our Screens in Focus Facebook page. You can also follow us on our Instagram and subscribe to our website and our YouTube channel. The link is in our show notes. So, Diana.
Yes.
Tell me your overall thoughts on episode 3, Fear the Walking Dead, Alaska.
Oh, this was a really good episode. I was so happy to see Dwight and Al and the development of their friendship. So much happened in this episode. But I have to say, I felt like one step behind through most of it because I was trying to absorb what just happened in the last scene. So, you know, and that's a good thing because I kept trying, because I felt like so much was happening and I was thinking about, we just saw that person and that just happened. And then the next thing would happen. I'm like, wait, I've got to pay attention to this. And so I had to watch it a second time to really absorb what happened. But I like when I have that feeling, even though I'm feeling like I'm losing a little, because that just means to me it's an exciting episode. So I just really appreciated it. And the second time around, I noticed nuances that I didn't originally. So, but I have to say, I was so emotional about the last scene. I loved it, and I just can't wait to talk about it.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
What did you think?
Well, I love Dwight. I was so happy to see that he and Al and their friendship and how they understand each other. I was just so excited for that bond that they share.
Yeah.
And they actually reminded me of, two siblings by the way that they speak to each other. I love this episode with the new ideas that they brought in and meeting the new characters. So there were so many good parts in this episode. So what specifically stood out to you in this episode, Diana?
So of course, Al and Dwight, they're out scouting for Virginia. And I'm thinking, thank God, because these are two people that would not work well in camp. So it's good that they're out, in the field. So plus they're both searching for their loved ones, right? Dwight's looking for Sherry and Al's following leads, with Isabel. So I think that is making it all the more the best job for them to be out in the field. But
yeah.
oh my gosh, I was shocked by that woman walker that snuck up on Al at that funeral home.
Yeah.
She looked like a regular person. And I wasn't sure at first. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this lady crazy or a walker? But then we realized that she was embalmed, and that's probably why she looked better than other walkers do in that situation. So being dead. So, but that scared me for Al. And then, and Al and Dwight made a game of collecting those driver's licenses off the walkers by the by the states. And apparently Alaska and Florida are hard to find. So it was really great to see this friendship between them. I don't think that we've seen it between them before. So I really liked what we're seeing with them. Oh, and then when they shared those beers that taste like skunk. I mean, can you imagine you get this beer and you remember what it tastes like, what it used to taste like with beer. And then, you open it up and it tastes crappy.
That's crazy. I've had bad wine, but I've never had a bad beer, I don't think. And I would not know what I would do if it tastes like skunk.
I know, right?
I mean, I don't know if I could, Al was drinking it, okay, and then Dwight was he spit it out, then he continued to drink again. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you are thirsty, right? You got to drink something. I think they were just shocked by the taste, and then they're like, oh, well, we're going to go for it and drink it anyways.
Wow.
And then Dwight finds out about Beer Lady and tells Al to at least try and find her. But Al's reluctant because she doesn't want to do anything to hurt the others. But what I love is Dwight has her back. And if she's able to escape with Beer Lady, aka Isabel, then he'll cover her by finding a walker that looks similar and use it as a decoy. So I really love how supportive Dwight is with Al.
Oh, I love that too. And that's part of what I meant earlier with their sibling bond that they had. I just feel like he genuinely cares for her like a sister. And it seems like she really cares for him.
Yeah.
Like her brother. So I was really, really happy to see their relationship evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Morgan, we see Morgan bring the new mama, Rachel, fresh preserved jam.
Yeah.
And I was like, looking at the jar, I'm like, oh, wow, that looks really cute. And I wonder how old that is. But then I realized when Rachel reacted surprised, Morgan assured her that he knows someone on the inside and he won't know where his friends are until they can get them all out.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting because it was probably, I would have mixed feelings if if my buddy knew somebody on the inside and are we safe?
Right.
Are you safe? Are we going to build our community? How are we going to do that? A lot of questions, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, because she knew where that jar came from. She's like, this is from Lawton or Ginny's camp or whatever. So.
Yeah. I think this season's going to be so good. And I have a feeling that it's going to be very tribute to The Walking Dead and Rick Grimes. I don't know. I just have this feeling. And then also with Morgan, his staff broke in the last episode, or
yeah,
I think it was the first episode.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I know.
Yeah, he broke the staff in when he killed Emil. And I was so curious what he would end up doing about that. And that's been his signature weapon for so many seasons now. And I just didn't think that he would be able to give that up. So when we saw Morgan woodworking, and then he ended up attaching Emil's axe to the staff, and it just looks so cool. He has this double-edged weapon, half staff, half axe. And I just thought that was so monumental for him, because we kind of had to say goodbye to, what was his friend's name who taught him the Tai Chi?
I don't remember the guy's. I can't remember right now what his name was, but yes.
Well, I loved him, that character. He was such a nice character.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
It was almost like a send-off, farewell to him maybe.
It was interesting, that contraption he made. I was like trying to absorb it and look at it, but they only shot to it a couple of times, but I thought it was interesting what he had built in order to, work on his new weapon.
Yeah.
So,
and he had all these tools, that was really cool. A little carpenter.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So what else did you see?
Well, I really liked the conversations that Dwight and Al had about their significant others. So Dwight asks Al what she's going to say to Beer Lady when she sees her. And she says, "You mean when she has her gun pointed at me?" And Dwight says, "When she lowers the gun." And then Al says, she only knew her for 2 days. But Dwight explains that he only knew Sherry for a short time. So, and then Al turns the tables and asks Dwight what he will say to Sherry. And he says, I've made my peace with this, that he's never going to see her again. And what really struck me in this relationship of theirs is that they keep hope alive for each other. And I just think that is so special.
Yes, it sure is.
Yeah.
They just kept bouncing off each other's feelings. And this was, I mean, you have a family and a husband and everything. And so we know what it's like to feel extremely comfortable with a partner.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they have a very significant relationship, it's just so special. I adored watching their company.
Mm-hmm.
But when we saw them in the building, and we met Nora, and her group has been in the building for a very long time. And I thought she said that they've been in there since the beginning.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's pretty creepy. And then with all those rats crawling around, and there was this suspicious rat encaged. And later in this episode, we hear them say that that's how this bubonic plague has been spread, and somebody must have infected the rat, which then infected all the people. I mean, that's so horrific.
I know.
A pandemic in a pandemic.
I
Apocalypse
know.
pandemic.
I know. Wow.
How? That's crazy. And so how creative are the writers for that? That's incredible. This was such a terrible plague, and Al has actually seen it in the field pre-apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
So, without treatment, death it is, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And so Al was not going to worry about the people who were sick inside the building. So when she and Dwight were leaving, he wanted to do right by them and help them, but instead Al locks them in, and so she can continue to go up the roof. I was shocked. I mean, there were so many people in there, but without Cipro, this antibiotic for the treatment of bubonic plague, they would all have died.
Yeah.
And even though Dwight tried to talk her into asking Virginia for help, Al kept insisting to leave them. But when they got trapped in the bathroom, Nora came to their rescue.
Yeah. I was surprised that Al locked them in and, Dwight wanted to help them. And then I was equally surprised that Nora ended up helping the both of them, even though that they were going to leave her group to die. And then I was worried when Al noticed that Dwight was infected because I was like, did he get bit by a walker? I'm praying that it was the bubonic plague because I didn't want it to be, from the walkers because I thought maybe they can find something. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just freaked out because I didn't know at that moment what it was, because you just hear Al say, "What's that on your neck?" She wasn't specific, and so I was like, "No, we can't lose Dwight. I finally like him. He's come so far. We can't lose him now."
I love Dwight.
Yeah, I know. I was like thinking that during this episode. I'm like, man, I really like Dwight. What the heck happened? You can just change, what you do or how you are and kind of redeem yourself, which is very cool.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But then Nora was explaining how she felt really bad, all these people that she had known for a long time, because when they turned into walkers, she couldn't recognize them anymore. So I thought it was a really nice gesture that Al gave her the Alaska driver's license because it was actually Mark, her friend. And so she wanted Nora to remember Mark the way he was, which is his picture on the driver's license. So I just thought that was really, really nice of her to think about it, so.
I know. That was really sweet. After she tried to kill her.
I know. Well, I don't know why she did it to Nora. Nora was okay, but I kind of understand all the other people because she was thinking, how can we help them? We don't have antibiotics and Virginia's not going to help. So what can we do? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. So I love Dwight's message to Al, and he tells her to crack one open for him with Beer Lady. And not to forget the pretzels. So I keep bringing up their sibling relationship. I just felt their relationships and their friendship so much. When they were sitting on the porch drinking the bad beer, from then till the end of the episode, I just love them together as friends. I just thought that it was so symbolic, especially for Al, because she's always talked about her brother.
Yeah.
And losing her brother.
So I agree. Dwight's message to Al was so sweet. And also Al's conversation with Isabel, because on the rooftop, she gives up her chance with Isabel because of the message that she received from Dwight, because I think she realized that her relationship with Dwight was a for sure thing. And it was somebody that she cares about, and she has to see him again because she had the opportunity, I think, to see her brother again, but she didn't take it because she was being a journalist. And so I think she really regretted that. So I think she didn't want to regret the relationship she had with Dwight. So, she tells Isabel, don't come here. People here have the bubonic plague. But trying to keep it under wraps, so in case anybody outside was listening, they wouldn't know that they know each other. So,
yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but then Dwight and Al hug. Their friendship and relationship is so special.
Very touching.
Yeah.
So someone had seen the flare, and guess who's home?
Oh my gosh.
Honey, Sherry. I felt Sherry so strong with the Force in this episode.
I did too. I love it.
With all the beer and pretzels talk, I just knew they were going to reunite with Sherry, and I cannot wait to hear more about Sherry's story.
I know. I'm a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I am too. But
Yeah.
it was so cool to see them like see each other in the alleyway, and then just run to like just the way that they looked at each other. And
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
it was so good, so good. So I think that kind of summed up the episode. But what else did you notice that maybe I didn't see?
Well, I noticed that Morgan was so clean shaven, and that he wonders, if others will be able to recognize him. And then it made me think, did Daniel do that for him, or was it just along the way? I don't know, because Morgan looked down and out and almost dead, and now he's just all clean shaven. He looked good. Oh, and that Al and Dwight were wearing those body cams, so that was interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
That they even had that technology able to run it and work it. And I'm curious what Virginia wants it for, or what she's expecting. Is she just keeping tabs on them, or is it to find information out? I don't know. It's very interesting.
That's true.
And then the spray paint at the end in that building, it said the end is the beginning, which is what we saw in episode 1 with those 2 guys. And Al suspects that someone is behind the bubonic plague.
Oh, yeah.
That was interesting. And then Coleman Domingo directed this episode. It was so good. I didn't realize that till after I watched it. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so good, because I really liked the way this was filmed. I just thought I just loved this episode. I thought the directing was good, the acting was good, and the script was really good.
Nice.
So, did you have any other thoughts?
Well, for me, I'm just a little confused about Virginia, especially in this episode, because I don't see Virginia as a caring leader. She seems like really dark and mysterious, as well as manipulative.
Yeah.
So I still need to understand her role as Dwight was insisting on asking for Virginia's help, but yet they left their territory and then would get in trouble because they're outside of their territory. It's late, and it's like their curfew. I'm not sure what is up with all of that, and all this micromanagement. So I want to find out more about what's really going on at Lawton or her communities, because I think she has more than one community.
I don't know. Maybe
like where the people like that were with the molasses plant, like that's her
true.
People, like, so I'm not sure what the heck is going on. I don't know. I'm not sure, because it's not like they're like Negan, where there's out there like harassing and killing people, but there's still like a really creepy vibe that I'm getting about this community. So, and it's organized, like they have rangers and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't get it. I'm not sure what to expect. So, if you could give an award to your favorite quote, character, or moment, Diana, who would you give your award to?
It would go to Dwight and Sherry's reunion. I was completely moved by this moment. I teared up 3 times. I saw it the first time, and then I saw just the ending, and then I rewatched the whole episode. So I saw it 3 times. I'm not kidding, Brooke. Every time I saw it, I was welled up. I think it was the way that it was filmed, with Dwight running toward her. And then there was that piano music in the background, and they show her off in the distance, and then they show her face close up with tears. I mean, I was seriously so excited for Dwight in this moment. I mean, I had a smile. I had tears and a smile, and it was so genuine. I was thrilled for them. And I'm worried. I'm worried because we don't know where Sherry has been, and we don't know where she's at, her head is at. So I was glad that she was at least smiling and crying, because I'm like, okay, you still love Dwight, but, I don't know what's going to happen after this. So I'm worried, but it was a beautiful, beautiful reunion.
Yes.
And I really loved it. So that's who I would give my award to.
Awesome.
Brooke, who would you give your award to? What was your favorite, quote, character or moment?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say Al. Even though she wanted to let dozens of people die of bubonic plague, all locked up in an office, she did find a way to the rooftop, and she saved the sick by helping provide Cipro. Yeah. Thanks, Al. Yeah. That was great. I think that was, I mean, she just kept working her way up, even if they had to die one way or another. But she ended up saving the day.
Yeah,
and
she did.
She saved her brother Al, or Dwight.
She did.
I thought it was really cool. Really cool. She had a, you just have to listen to your
gut.
What's the word? Yeah, thank you. And go for it, right? I mean, something's telling you to get up to that rooftop. You just never know what it could be.
Yeah. Well, I think she did say somewhere in there that she wanted to have that feeling again that she had with Isabel. You know, she wanted to feel that way. That
she
to
felt
feel
alive.
Yeah, to feel alive was more important than just living a long time without that feeling. But again, I think something clicked in her when she was at that rooftop with Dwight, and she thought, oh man, he's my brother. He's my brother. So I got to help him. I got to save him. So
yeah.
Loved it. Love this episode.
Good. Yes. Thank you, Fear the Walking Dead. Thank you, Coleman Domingo.
Yeah.
Love it. So did you watch The Walking Dead, The World Beyond, Season 1, Episode 3?
I did.
Oh,
and
cool.
So the teens are joined by Felix and Huck in this episode. And we learn more about Silas's backstory. He lived with his grandparents, and then something happened, and he snapped and beat somebody up. And then he goes to the colony with his uncle to get a fresh start. But he's still being bullied there. And Iris is the only one that seems to be nice to him. So I think that's where his crush comes into play. And then in current time, they're trying to get, out of that school to meet up with Hope. And they're running into walkers. And Silas beats up one of the empties. And I kept thinking, you're going to get infected, because he was pounding this face of this walker, and it was like guts or blood or whatever was flying all over the place, but it didn't appear to be of any concern. So I'm not sure how that's happening or how he's going to remain safe, but that's how I was feeling at that moment, because I was shocked. Also, Brooke, I don't know if you saw this. I didn't see this first off. I read about it and then I had to go back and look at it. So after the ending credits of this episode, we see something really important. We see what looks like to be the CRM lab, and a woman researcher is testing walkers, and they are categorized by a number with the letter A. Okay? So remember how Garbage Lady had said, I have a B, I don't have an A, I have a B with Rick. So I think this is where the letters might come in. We're not sure, but it seems like it could be. And also we see a picture of her on her desk that reflects her, the girl's dad, Dr. Bennett, and two men. And one of those men is the test subject she is recording information on. That's a walker.
Trippy.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, let's hope they don't take the girl's father and make him a walker and test him out. So that was creepy. That was wow.
Yeah, that was really crazy. So when you said that Silas, you said something like, how can he be
beating
safe?
That walker?
Yeah.
With his bare hands. He was doing it with his bare hands.
Yeah.
So if he's beating it, and I'm sure he can get cut from he's can get open wounds so easily by, if you punch somebody, you get an open wound. So here he is beating the crap out of this walker so that walker's blood can get into him easily.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about Father Gabriel, he got sick just by putting guts on himself.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that's how he lost his eye. So you can get sick from by being exposed to blood,
Oh, I remember he couldn't see very well, but I don't remember that part. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's scary. And he just like blacked out.
Yeah.
Poor kid though. He must have been bullied at school, because it didn't seem like, cause when, Iris was going through all her, all the high school memories, and then they danced and the yearbook. And I thought that was really interesting, reflection, because it was like Iris sort of admired all of that in a way. And then Silas seemed like he didn't have the best experience socially, and probably beat the heck out of somebody to death or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a really interesting connection that those two had. And those rabid wolves in the school facility, which I was like, what monster is hiding in there dragging walkers?
Yes.
Yeah. And all the ivy growing in the school like that. And that one wolf like trying to get through the ventilation grate. And let's see, there was something else in that. Oh, so at the end, when that doctor was doing the test study, and did you notice how gigantic her sandwich was?
Yes, yes, I did. I commented on that. I'm like, holy crap! She can't eat, and then she like gets it from the other side and eats it. I'm like, what are you eating? And one, that you have that much food available to you, and then I was just crazy. Yes, that's so funny. They must have made a point to do that. That especially with us noticing it too, right? It's like, oh my gosh.
It reminded me of Jurassic Park when that one scientist techie guy, with the glasses was like.
Newman?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that was crazy. And they looked pretty scary, all like in their straight jackets and their like Silence of the Lambs with their little face shields on so they can't bite people or whatever.
Oh yes. Their Silence of the Lambs. I love that. So you had reminded me of something when you said that she was looking at those people back at prom. Like we saw a glimpse of those people, like they showed a flashback of those people that we don't know, but it was kind of cool that they showed these teens in real life, preparing for prom or whatever it was. And then at the end of the episode, we see them dead on the floor. And the reason you recognize them is because the girl had her hair colored. And it was the same girl. I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Bizarre. Very bizarre.
Yeah.
But so it was interesting looking through the lens of Hope because of the way that they're adopted. And there were babies.
I know. I wondered why they didn't look alike. But I was thinking, okay, whatever. They just wanted to pick them and I'm going with it.
And so they had an early connection, and I think they were there to just get one baby, but because they were stuck to each other, they brought home two babies, and they were just inseparable. Yeah. And you could tell that their bond is so, like, they know what one another is thinking. Like, they're so in tune with each other. And I loved how Dr. Bennett, their dad, told her, Hope, that he wishes that she could see herself the way that he sees her, and meaning how much, and what did he call her? He said, she's exceptional.
Yeah.
And I think those type of words, mean so much to our kids when we tell them, if we use big vocabulary like that, and they're like, you think of me how?
Yeah.
And that was very loving. And I loved how they zoomed in on his face when he was telling her how much he loves her and how much, how special she is.
Yeah.
And she made that stink bomb, and I guess got in trouble for that. And he was like asking her what formula she used, and she told him, and he's like, well, that's not what I would have done, but
Yeah.
good job or whatever. So I just thought that was really cute to see how much Hope loves her parents. Just,
Yeah.
So it was nice to see her. Well, she's very emotional. So,
I like her. I do like Hope.
Yeah. They all have a lot of growing to do.
Yeah.
What's the other kid's name? I forgot right now.
Elton,
yeah. Poor Elton's not ready for this. That's
I
what
know.
Felix told him.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not ready for this, and you all are not ready for this, which, I don't know.
Who is ready?
Carl had it made at that
I know.
age. So they just need to be trained, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. that was really creative, really, really cool, really good set design with those ivy everywhere and the crazy demonic wolves.
Yes. I forgot about that. It scared me. I'm like, oh my God, is there something new?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What is this, like a secret lab? What else has leaked?
Yeah.
So what other shows or movies are you watching?
So I finally finished The Boys on Prime, and it was good. So the end of the season 2. So I mean, I kept trying to binge watch the last few episodes. So it was good. I really like it, but it is very graphic. So if you like graphic movies, then you'll enjoy this. If you don't, then you might have to skip it. But it is fun to watch. So I'm also watching The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. This is set during the Cold War era, and an orphan chess prodigy, Beth Harmon, struggles with addiction in her quest to become the greatest chess player in the world. And
Cool.
I think I'm only on 6. I think there might be 10 episodes. I'm on 6. And, it's a very new, different story. So I think that that's really good, because it's not like you're like, oh, I saw this before, or oh, they keep redoing this. No, it's very fun watching this, her with chess and being really good at it at such a young age, and, being an orphan and going to a family's, being adopted at 13, and just how her mind works, and then how she becomes someone addicted to pills and alcohol. And it's just really, it's pretty good. It's a good show. So if you're looking for a show to watch, you should, tune into that. And then This Is Us season 5 premiered. It was a 2-hour special. Oh my gosh, it was so good. But they didn't resolve the family feud between Randall and Kevin. Kevin is played by Justin Hartley, and Randall's played by Sterling K. Brown. And the 3 of them turned 40. And the reason that's significant is because when the season 1 began, they all turned 36. So it's just like their birthdays tend to be, a monumental time for them. And in this episode, I really liked that they addressed COVID-19 pandemic and Black Lives Matter. So Randall explains, how he's always putting his feelings aside for his white siblings, which was really interesting and a revelation for Kate, who's played by Chrissy Metz. If you're not familiar with This Is Us, Randall was adopted and taken home the same, I don't know if he was adopted that day, but I mean, he was taken home the day that Kate and Kevin were born. And so, they've grown up like triplets. Randall is African American. So I just really liked how they dealt with these current issues in this episode. So I really, really appreciated it. Sterling K. Brown as Randall. He's an extraordinarily talented actor. They all are, but he just shines so much in this series. And if you aren't watching it, please watch it. And if you are watching it, you know what I mean. And I just really hope he wins an Emmy for this current season 5. I also thought Mandy Moore, who plays Rebecca, the mom, is so good. And she's in the beginning stages of Alzheimer's, and it's really heartbreaking. And the episode ends with a cliffhanger. So it's just, it was a good 2-hour season premiere for This Is Us. So,
wow, 2 hours.
Yeah, it was good. And for movies, so our power went out one day and it was out the entire day. And on that day, I'm like, what am I going to do? Our power, not our power. Sorry. It wasn't our power. It was our internet and our cable was out. We had our regular power. So and it was the entire day, like from 10 o'clock to 11:30 at night. So I had to watch movies. I'm like, what am I going to watch? So I put in The Truman Show because we have that. And I put in Mamma Mia. And, you know, they're both so good. Truman Show has Jim Carrey, and Mamma Mia is with Meryl Streep and Amanda Seyfried. And so I just really enjoyed them. It was one of those days where you just kind of cuddle up and watch some really good movies. But then on Saturday, it was my husband and we watch movies on Saturday evenings. And so we usually watch something new, but he wanted to watch The Three Amigos, and I was there. I'm like, cool, let's watch it. And we laughed, and we were reciting lines, and I just love Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short in this, and it was good. So
such a funny movie. I love Three Amigos.
I know. It's so fun. I texted you that day.
Yes.
I texted you a picture of I'm like, guess what I'm watching, Brooke?
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was, they're fun to watch. So everybody should take a moment and rewatch them or watch them if you can.
Yes.
Brooke, what are you watching?
Well, that day that you text me The Three Amigos, you're like, look what I'm watching. I text you a picture of what we were watching. And we watched Halloween, the first one with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
And that was the Michael Myers mystery, right? Like, so it was the beginning or the first movie for the series. I think there's like 8 or I don't know. There's like 6 movies or like because they did remakes and stuff. So there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
And I really like the first one, Jamie Lee Curtis. And they're just trying to figure out what happened to Michael. He escaped from the asylum and he drives away in a car. But that part's kind of funny because like after we see him driving a car, we never really saw him acting human again. Like he was just kind of like a supernatural, being like stalking everybody. And then, it's filmed in 1978. So it's very, vintage film and, there's special effects and everything. And so, the doctor, he's like trying to track down Michael Myers because he thinks he went to his hometown. And they see somebody in a mask that looks just like the one that Michael was wearing. And he's chasing him down. He pulls out his gun. He's not a law enforcement officer. He's a psychologist.
Yeah.
And he's chasing this person with a mask on down the street and with a gun. And the guy's like walking away all like, oh, what? Don't follow me, And then out of nowhere, a police car comes and just like smashes this person wearing this mask who they think is Michael Myers. And then he like hits him with the police car into a van. And then the car and the van like blow up. Because it's so vintage, like everything blew up back then.
Yes.
And so then they have to take the corpse to the coroner, and they need to do the dental records and stuff to find out if this is Michael. But they're like, oh, the teeth looks like a 17-year-old boy. or a person. And so anyway, they killed the wrong Michael, or like the wrong person wearing the mask. That part,
Yeah,
we were just
oh my gosh.
I mean, it was sad, but it was it was just done so vintage. It was just hysterical. And so Michael killed, I want to say, about 4 or 5 people in this movie, and they were all like teenagers, like babysitters, just like, young people hanging out. And you could hear him behind the mask breathing heavily. So I just think that the movie is, and the music, the thriller music, it's like very, like, I don't know, maybe violin, like squeaking noises. So it kind of gives you the goosebumps, even though it's not real scary, but it kind of is, because there's breathing, and then like the camera, it's just everything about it was so, like horror nostalgia. I just thought it was done so well. And then, like parts where you're like, get up, get out. Like I don't really feel that in a lot of movies anymore, but those movies, you're like, what are they doing sitting there? Get up. So, we watched it as a family. We all enjoyed it. I mean, you saw the picture. David was like in the background, like toys everywhere. So we just had a good Halloween special, and we ended up watching part 2 maybe the following week or something like that. Like a few days later, we watched part 2, and that was equally as good. And same thing. What are you doing in there? So in Halloween part 2, there was a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis finally gets outside, and then Gemma's like, oh, good, now she can go and hide in that car. And we're all, no, don't hide in the car. Run.
Oh my
and
goodness.
So what does Jamie Lee Curtis do? She goes and hides in the car.
So funny.
But it was so cute that Gemma was like, go in the car, go in the car.
Aww.
And then Michael finds her in the car. So it's just like, you guys, if you haven't seen these movies, I highly recommend them for now, or you can wait until next Halloween to enjoy them.
No, they should just watch them now.
It's so funny. It's funny. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. That's our show. Thank you for tuning in. We are so grateful that you tuned in, and we hope something we said today resonated with you and gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our podcast and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. If you could do us a big favor and rate and review the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, we really need your feedback.
We'll be uploading new episodes in a couple of weeks. The next shows will be on Fear the Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 5 and 6, and The Walking Dead World Beyond. You can find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.